Today's gospel has always been a challenging gospel for me because in some ways it's so odd. It tells the story of Jesus not long before the Passion, going to Jerusalem. It tells the story of Jesus going up a mountain to pray with his close disciples. And then some things that happen that wouldn't be out of place in a superhero novel. There's flashes of lightning, Jesus' clothes go white, voices, apparitions. It all seems out of tune with what's been happening up to this. And for myself, trying to understand what's going on, I need to look back a little bit about what had happened before. This event happens about a week after a significant moment in the story where Jesus has said to the disciples, "Who do you think that I am?" And again, it's something that's always struck me as, gosh, didn't they have an easier time than we had? They were there with him. They could see him. They could see all the things he did. They saw him as a leader. They saw him as a courageous person. They saw him as a person who healed people, who performed miracles, who was a wise person. And yet, when they were asked the question, "Who do you think that I am?" they couldn't really say. They couldn't say it in any way that would make sense to us at this stage. And even the one person who did get the right textbook answer, Peter, who says, "You're the Messiah," immediately goes on to say things which suggest that he doesn't really know what the Messiah might be. But up until this story in this gospel, the Sunday gospel now, we're dealing with generally events and things that seem within the range of our understanding. Jesus at weddings, Jesus at funerals, Jesus at meeting with people. And then there's this odd event. So how do we understand it? Well, for me, the understanding is not that something has happened to Jesus, that there's another miraculous event that, couldn't prove to the disciples who he was by all his miracles. He had to do another super one for the inner circle. For me, what has happened, and it's very interesting in Luke's version of the story, he says people are sleepy. They're sort of in the moment and not in the moment. Something happens to the disciples. The Transfiguration is actually, for me, more what happens to the disciples there. It's about somehow a moment at which the big picture becomes clear to them. And I think that's actually something that happens to us all at times in our lives. I can remember it at significant moments in my life when I became a father and had my first child. Somehow I was put in touch with a bigger reality than I'm aware of normally. And all the problems and all the difficulties and all the things that I have to do as a father were going to be there, but somehow there was a bigger picture that made things seem possible. Those moments don't last. And I think it's interesting in the story too, where Peter wants to hold on to the moment. He wants to build tents for people and he wants to keep people there. But that doesn't happen, and they don't tell anybody about it afterwards. Something strange has happened to them. It's changed how they look at things. Not changed it completely, because as we know, not long afterwards, Peter's able to deny who Christ was. But somehow it has changed their broader perspective and changed how they're going to live their life. So for me, the thing I take out of this story is that in our relationship with Jesus, in our relationship to challenge ourselves to follow the path of Jesus, we need to be open to moments of transfiguration. We need to be open to those things in our life that can actually make us stop, take a time out of time. They can be significant life events. They may be encounters with people. They may be encounters with people that we meet in the street and we look and see the face of God in them. But we need to be open to them, and we need to know that through that openness, it gives us a perspective that maybe allows us to keep going.